Hello, everyone. I'm delighted to be here today to share our experience as Kubernetes trainers. I am Joseph Page, Senior Cloud Consultant, trainer, of course, and lead of Kubernetes training at Octo Technology. And here is Max.
Hello everyone, so my name is Max-Emilien. You can just call me Max. I'm also a senior cloud engineer and so consultant at Octo Technology, which will be presented just after. And I'm also delighted to be here with you today to share our caring about trainees on Kubernetes training that we are processing.
Let me introduce you to Octo. We are an IT consulting and delivery firm with 3 offices in France. We are part of Accenture since 2017. We are a team of 700 people, including over 500 consultants, experts, and coaches. We specialize in agile, product design, software engineering, and of course, DevOps and cloud technologies. Besides consulting and delivery, we're also deeply involved in training and R&D to keep innovating and sharing knowledge. Speaking of training, Octo Academy is the brand behind all training activities for Octo in France, and more recently for Accenture across Europe. We offer a wide range of training modules covering many IT domains with high quality standards. Our training courses are designed for both large French and European companies, as well as individuals from SMEs or startups, and of course, for our colleagues within Octo and the Accenture Group. When it comes to Kubernetes training, we currently offer 2 modules at different levels. One for Kubernetes users and one for Kubernetes administrators. Each course lasts 3 days. We deliver them roughly 50-50 between in-person and remote sessions. In-person training happens either at our office in Paris or at the client's location anywhere in France. Since 2016, we have trained over 100 people across more than 80 sessions with approximately more than 50 trainers contributing over time. Each session is led by 2 experienced trainers, supported sometimes by an additional learning trainer. We believe this setup is the best way to provide individual support to each participant, especially during hands-on labs. All of our content is crafted in-house and is available only in French. We improve it iteratively, not only based on participant feedback, but also through our real-world experience. And that's something special about us. We are professional trainers, but not full-time. We are first and foremost consultants, passionate about sharing knowledge and real-world experience. Some of our trainers deliver up to 10 sessions per year, like me, while others might only do 1 or 2. Our clients don't expect us to recite theory by heart. They want passionate experts who bring real field testing inside and best practices. And that's what we love to deliver.
So who are we teaching for? So for many people, like big companies, small companies, and even individuals. What we can say is we want to share our knowledge with anyone, whatever we want. The case for big companies can be changes inside the teams, introducing a new technology like Kubernetes. to ramp up the velocity, etc., etc. For small companies, just to be up to date, to have really good point on the market. And for individuals, can be many, many things. They can just be curious about the new technology like Kubernetes. They have to learn it to be attractive on the market. They just want to see what they are working on future projects. Many. So they have many expectations, and we are here to try to answer them and give the best feedback possible during this. And in any case, across all of these people, we have many profiles. They can be developers, they can be system engineers that will administrate the clusters. They can also be architect or lead that just want to know how it will impact their work day to day. In any case, anyone that feels that they want to know something about Kubernetes and is curious is welcome for us. So, one of our first tips that we want to give you is exchange on the expectation that we have between trainers and trainees, okay? So each one wants to know something. So the trainers need to know what are the expectations of the trainees, okay? What do they expect from the formation, from the training? What do they want to progress on? Why? And in what context, concretely. And for the trainees, they need to know many things, like, do I have requirements to know anything about this training? Will I be lost if I start anytime, any day? And will it match what I want to learn behind? And for that, you have to talk to them. Okay, what we're doing at Octo and Octo Academy is we're calling the trainees one-on-one to explain them more personally what it means on this training, what we're going to do, what aspects we're going to share, and what they have to expect to learn on this. And they can tell us, okay, I expect something specifically on this subject because I know a little about Kubernetes, but I want to know specifically this part. Will you talk about it or not? And depending on this conversation, we can tell them if they are ready for it, and if they are not, you have the rights. And sometimes we say people, this training is not for you. We can route them on some other trainings that we're procuring, or just trainings all over the world. It's also our responsibility to offer a good session for people. And if we don't do that, maybe sometimes we have frustrated people. They can be trainees, they can be trainers. If we don't talk to each other correctly, it cannot work. So, what do we really do? Our rules, some of them, Joseph already told you about them. The 50-50, so we do remote and in person, but we also do it between theory and practice. Kubernetes is a really complicated subject. Sometimes we forget it because we are using it every day, but really you need a lot of practice to understand Kubernetes and all the theories behind it. The 5 to 15 people, it's easy to assist people individually because we are 2 trainers with a third person that we'll talk later. And last test of our rules that we'll show later is we need to start fast. There is nothing that can stop trainees to start rapidly to learn our subject. What do we teach next? Kubernetes is an extensive subject. There's a lot of complexities, a lot of modules behind it. When we want to train people about this subject, the first thing we want to do is focus on concept. We don't want to, right now, enter the technicalities of how it works, okay? Depending on the training. The administrative one we can, but on the first one, when you enter the subject of Kubernetes for the first time, technicalities are really, really painful. How to know the network is working is not for everyone, and you just need to know the concept at first. Once you explain the concept, you can start the practical part of it. We are doing hands-on labs after each concept is explained. And at the end of this practice session, or during this practice session for some people, they will have the question that comes right away. Okay, it's good, I have this concept A. I practically put it into a reality B. Now I need to know, because I'm curious, okay, how did it happen? When trainees have this question that pops, which is good, you can start to talk about technicalities, so not maybe all the way in, but it will come naturally. Another thing to put when you want to create, I think, any training, and in this case for Kubernetes, you need to stay close to the certification process. Okay, Kubernetes today has three certification. We need to stay close. Why? One, it's easy, because if we stay close, it's like we have a checklist to do for people to learn. And the second one is at the end of the training, so we have a training of 3 days. These 3 days will not be lost if we stay close to the certification, if they want to pass it. And that's a good thing. We don't want them to think after 3 days of practice that, okay, but now I need to do everything again for the certification. It's not the same thing. So we stay close of this, and we focus on the main part on it. So what about the content that we put inside our training, inside the slide specifically? This is a training, this is not a course or a lecture, okay? So all the main points we talk about have to be written in it, because when you are not here and you will give them your slides, they need to be able to read it, understand it, without you having to narrate things over. Second point, we need to put every documentation example and link that we are saying inside the slide, so that they can refer to what you say, and main example behind. It also means something that the slides need to evolve with each training session that we are doing. Not because trainees have to challenge our slides every time, but because we, trainers, are challenging our slides every time we pass them to students. So we also have hidden slides for technicalities, because we don't want to present them every time. So when a group has the level to understand it, we will put this slide to use. And of course, we are using our slides to share between trainers what trainees did, the time they took on the exams, the comments, and everything else. The content of your training needs to be as alive as you and evolve after each session.
Hands-ons make up half of the training time, so they need to be just as sharp and smooth as the slides. They should be easy to use for participants, but also easy to deploy and maintain for trainers. Let's take a closer look. First, easy for participants. Installing the live environment should be effortless. Ideally, there should be nothing to install at all. Everything should be online, requiring only a web browser. This works well even in highly restricted corporate networks on lockdown PCs. Sometimes a bit of low listing is still needed in advance, but it works the majority of the time. This also saves time. We don't waste hours downloading or troubleshooting failed installation. Instead, participants can focus on what matters the most, practicing. Quick and easy. Easy for participants also means making sure lab instructions are crystal clear. And we have 3 lessons to make them crystal clear. Re-explain key concepts in the instruction, even if it duplicates what's on the slide, because, let's be honest, some participants were still recovering from their after-work drinks when you presented them. So re-explain key concepts in the instruction. Also, provide copy-paste ready commands, because typos waste a lot of time. and fixing syntax error is very frustrating. Remember, understanding the concept is way more important than typing everything by hand. Finally, remind the basic commands, like navigating directories, for example, because not everyone is a Linux expert. Sorry. Next, easy for trainers. Labs must be easy to deploy. When you're running a training session on Monday morning, you should be able to spin up all lab environments effortlessly, ideally on Sunday evening while brushing your kids' teeth. I know what I'm talking about. The same when it's time to destroy once the session is over. You don't want ghost resources draining your AWS bill. Reproducibility is hard, but it's the price to pay for peace of mind. A training environment is not a permanent product. It does not run continuously, so maintenance works differently. On top of that, there is high trainer turnover, since many trainers only run sessions occasionally. From experience, sometimes painful experience, we've learned a few key lessons. First lesson, reduce the number of technology used. Second lesson, standardize and share infrastructure code across multiple training courses. Third lesson, involve every trainer in maintaining the platform to keep the code base simple and state-of-the-art. Bonus, if your platform is state-of-the-art, it can even become part of the training itself, showcasing best practices on a real-world project. That's a great added value. Let's take a closer look at our technical stack as an example of what you can build yourself for your training needs. For the Kubernetes user training, we use an AWS EKS cluster on which one code server instance is deployed for each participant as a stateful set. Code server is an open source project that allows you to access VS Code in the browser. We also include Docker in the pod. We build a custom Docker image to include CLI tools in the code server pod, like kubectl, Helm, Docker, etc. An individual service account allows access to a sandbox namespace to deploy the resources. For the administrator training, we stick with the one OKS and code server, but we add a few EC2 VMs where participants create their own cluster using kubadmin and experiment with it. Everything is created with OpenTofu in 30 minutes and destroyed in 20 minutes. And it delivers an incredible and immersive experience for learners.
One quick question, remote or not remote? That is the question. It's really complicated to answer. We don't really like the remote experience because it's really complicated on a 3-day course to have everyone showing their face, to be invested in the training really. So what we can tell you, because we cannot just ask for face-to-face training every time. So for the remote training, insist on how it's important to see people, to know at their face if they are lost, to help them, to assist, to have a conversation, to have a lot of exchanges with them, to have the session live the most of time possible. One other key point is on the hands-on labs that you do when you're on remote, where it was an individual exercise when you are face-to-face, transform it inside for a team accomplishment. like put them together in some subgroups and have them solve the hands-on issues by sharing their screen, talking to each other, and not having them each on their side of the screen alone. And for face-to-face people, okay, it's much more easy to isolate people when they have issues, to have personal assistance, and to make it so that the level, is the end of the training is almost the same, and to help people. So now, how do we train our progress? Joseph told at the first part of our talk that we had 2 to 3 people when we were doing training. So we have the first one, the trainer number 1, which is the knight in shining armor. So he's handling everything. He has experience on the training course. Specifically, he can handle everything to create the environment, to assist on the exercise and the hands-on. And he can have the ability to change the training on the fly, depending on the needs of the trainees, or special use case, and change everything like you want, because he has experience in that. The second trainer, the trainer 2, is an aspiring trainer 1, so he has done the training a few times, and is soon to be one, so he handles all the hard work, really. We give him all the exercise correction. We give him most of the presentation so that he can understand what the slide is about, have his own way to show it, to present it, and share his own experience. And we, as trainer 1, we are also sharing our experience and giving our own example of what we saw on client side, what was the issue, to be the closer of what the trainees are asking for with their expectation. And so we are sharing between trainers our example, our experiences, so that we can have a big training pool of people with a lot of experience and example to give to trainees. And we have the shadow. So it's someone which wants to be a trainer, but is just starting. So most of the time it's his first or second session, and they want to, they will have to, thank you, do the exercise with the student to know what are the issue and do the correction so that they can take into practice what the trainees are gonna face and able to handle it himself when he will be alone, when trainer 2 or 1. That's it. So if you have any question, thank you for listening. We'll be really happy to answer them. And here we go.